Welcome to One Soccer Direct, presented by the number 32. Yes, the 32 players who may be part of the 26-man squad for Canada here at the World Cup in the summer of 26 was unveiled on Monday, and we're providing some instant analysis, instant reaction, not only to the names included on that list, but also the comments made by Jesse Marsch. Gareth Wheeler, Oliver Platt, Jordan Wilson with you. Let's get straight to the highlights. What you're seeing on the screen right now are the 32 names which will be included in the mix at the camp in Charlotte, North Carolina. They'll be taking part over the next week. A number of these players have already been there for a week, gentlemen, training diligently, trying to get back on track for the most part and put themselves in the mix to be named to the final 26-man squad. Let's not bury the lead here. The news pertaining to Alphonso Davies was the most compelling. Jesse Marsch was asked multiple questions pertaining to Alphonso Davies, and this is what he said about Alphonso's inclusion.
Alphonso will be here on the 31st in Edmonton. So we spoke with Bayern and thought that the best thing for him was to continue his initial recovery treatment until the 28th. Then we're giving him a few days to, get away, and then he'll be joining us the 31st, and we'll pick up his rehab from there and try to put him in a position to physically succeed and to be part of our team. So we're excited because we haven't seen him in a while. Bayern has put him through certain treatment protocols that they can do in Germany that they can't do in North America. So that's one of the reasons why he stayed in Germany, because we think they have some advanced techniques in terms of the treatments that he can get. So we think that that's been good. They also are very supportive, and they want to see him play in the World Cup. I think that they understand that supporting their players for both club and country is important. We are going to have to take all the information of what they've been doing, make sure there's good communication between our medical departments, which we've been working really hard at, and then make sure that we're all on the same page. We're really respectful of their medical team and what they're trying to do, and we're all just trying to work together.
I think he'll play in the World Cup.
Yes, I think Alphonso will play in the World Cup.
Do you think it'll be on June 12th?
No, I don't think he'll be ready quite on June 12th, but we'll see.
That's the headline right there, Oliver, that Davies will not be included in the June 12th game. But I still think that we're in a position asking questions on when we may see Alphonso Davies over the course of this tournament.
Yeah, not a huge surprise, I don't think. I think we talked about this a week or two ago and probably looked at maybe Qatar, but maybe even more likely Switzerland as the target for Alphonso Davies. So I think that obviously puts a big emphasis now on the fitness of Richie Laryea, knowing for sure that we're not going to have Davies for the first game, or certainly it sounded like it from what Jesse Marsch had to say. And then you start to ask the question of how quickly can Davies ramp up, right? If he's not available to play on June the 12th, how ready is he going to be? What kind of role can he take? What kind of minutes can he play, just days later, a week or two later in the other two group games that Canada, are obviously going to need crucial points in. So, like I said, not really a huge surprise to hear that, but it does, I think, confirm it and offer a bit of clarity. And also the fact that Alphonso Davies won't be in North Carolina with the team. He'll stay in Munich with Bayern. Jesse Marsch talked about some advanced treatments that he can receive back in Munich that can't be done with the team in North America. So then he'll join up on the 31st in Edmonton after a few days break between the Munich recovery and flying out to Edmonton.
Jordan, this will be the headline, however.
Yeah.
That Alphonso Davies not playing in Canada's opener on June 12th. The reaction amongst people that are in the weeds like us, this is probably what we expected, but I'm not sure the rest of the nation was prepared for this. And it wasn't just that. It was Marsch speaking to perhaps Davies being on minutes limits, seeing how they can get the most out of him in games. This certainly wasn't encouraging news.
No, he was a realist about it. And Jesse Marsch, for me, as an optimist, right, and believes in a certain situation. But for a player like Alphonso Davies, those that have torn their hamstring or known someone like it, this is the correct diagnosis. Like, you can't rush someone back like this, and we've seen that as a chronic hamstring injury. Yet, from the Canadian perspective, it's not great news. I find it interesting what Jesse Marsch was talking about, because he said we want to get Alphonso Davies back into camp with his team around his brothers. Because I also think at that point, not rushing him to get back onto the pitch, but that's something that's needed. Every time we're talking about Alphonso Davies, we talk about the quality that he possesses and what he can bring to a team. but he hasn't really been with this group for over a year. And you think about the most decorated time in Canadian men's history, hosting or co-hosting a World Cup. And he hasn't been with his dogs, just like rubbing shoulders with them and cracking jokes and getting ready and seeing the tactics. So I think that's important. I like that Jesse Marsh kind of put the line in the sand and said June 12th feels out of reach. Obviously, nothing's definitive and we can see what happens. But I do like that he said that, because I think there were a lot of people like, okay, well, maybe he's ready for that point. Even for players as well, understanding that is your leader, that is your captain, but he's still going through a process and his health is of main priority. But again, we just don't know if that's the second game against Qatar, if that's Switzerland. He feels confident, Jesse Marsh, that he'll be playing this tournament. But again, being out, down and out for the first game, you just don't know how long that will take for Alphonso Davies. So we're just going to have to wait and see.
I'm gutted for Alphonso here because this was supposed to be his World Cup where he could be potentially a dominant force in a successful Canada team at a home World Cup. Now, that is still very much in doubt when you're speaking about managing minutes and making sure that the player is emotionally prepared. You all of a sudden you're downplaying your expectations of what the team can actually get from Davies in this tournament. That's the way, unfortunately, I'm looking at it, Oliver. It's that, you know, none of this has simply gone to plan. Now you're just trying to make the best out of a negative situation. And even a bigger concern potentially for Canada is this becomes a significant distraction. This is going to be a significant media outside talking point about this team, when or if or how much Alphonso will play. And that can loom large over a team in a tournament where you try to keep things as distraction-free as possible.
Well, I wonder if what he said today was an attempt to kind of take that distraction away as much as they possibly can, because now I don't think we'll be talking so much in the lead up to the Bosnia game about if Davies is going to play or not, right? And that conversation kind of goes away a little bit. If he is involved in any capacity in that game, it's a pleasant surprise. If not, we're focused on other players because the managers already told us several weeks out that Alphonso Davies isn't going to be ready for that first game. So it is a little bit, it's not a little bit, it's a big disappointment when the reality kind of sinks in that, you know, Alphonso Davies has been away from this national team for a year now, over a year. He was the face of not just this team, but almost the World Cup bids as a whole. Right. And the fact that he will not be ready for that first game and probably will have his participation limited generally in this tournament, depending on how far Canada goes, obviously. That is something that is, you know, that's a tough one to swallow. I just think because he's been away for so long, because he's been so hampered by injury in his recovery, it almost come to feel like that would probably be the case in one form or another, that we weren't going to get Davies at 100% full fitness at this tournament. And it seems like that will be the reality.
I guess the only hope, Jordan, the only thing that would have been better was more resolution. So there's more definitive answers. Like this is a game that they're going to have to play. It's a wait and see situation. There's no other way around it. But the fact remains, this team will be better with Alphonso Davies in it. And it's a wait and see game that they have to play.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I think what sticks out to me is what happens based on Jesse Marsh saying that he won't be ready for the 12th already, right? It's funny because we make these lists of our projected 26 that we feel, but now all of a sudden there are other players, defenders, one that's sticking out to me in Zoran Basong that's thinking, okay, well, maybe I have to step up in a bigger role. Now, all of a sudden there's way more pressure on Richie Larriere than there was before, because now it's definitive that Alphonso Davies won't be ready. So there's a knock-on effect right within the squad. What I will give Jesse Marsh and the players credit for is that they do have a contingency plan, and he did once say that he has a plan from A to double Z about how to go about things. So that's great. But the fact that we're looking at a 32-man squad with minus 18 days until they kick a ball against Bosnia and Herzegovina at BMO Field is not the best situation, but I guess they're going to have to make the most of it, right?